Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kaufman with Nerd on the Street, and today we are taking a look at Firefox 57. Okay everyone, so if you've been watching Rolling Release over the past few months, you might know that Mozilla has been working on a big update to Firefox. As you're probably aware, Firefox has kind of been lagging behind in performance over the past few years. Most mainstream users have switched over to Google Chrome, or if you're on a Mac or Windows, you might be using Safari or Microsoft Edge. Really, Google Chrome, though, has done Firefox the most damage in the past 5 years. I have been one of those few users that has stuck with Firefox, and actually I haven't stuck with it, but I've gone and tried other browsers and I've come back to Firefox, not because of the performance, but just because I like not being spied on. Firefox is just about the only mainstream browser that's made by a not-for-profit organization, and it's the only mainstream browser that's actually open source and libre to a point. That's why I use Firefox, but for most people that's not good enough. Most people need actually a nice looking browser that performs well. Who would have thought? So I am very excited that Mozilla has been putting a lot of effort into making Firefox perform better recently, and a lot of the performance improvements we've already seen in previous Firefox updates. I could certainly tell a difference in the past couple of updates, Firefox 55 and 56 doing a whole lot better with my hundreds of tabs that I always have open. But Firefox 57 is finally here. This is the release that Mozilla has been telling us, just wait, don't switch away from Firefox yet, wait for 57, try that out first, and then if you still don't like it, then you should switch away. And I'll be honest, even though I do use Firefox because it's the only mainstream browser that's open source, there are other non-mainstream browsers that are open source that do perform better than Firefox sometimes, as of version 56. The primary one that I've been eyeing is Quapzilla, recently renamed to Falcon. It's the new KDE web browser, and it's built in Qt, and it runs on WebKit. So it's like Chrome on the inside, but on the outside it blends in with my desktop environment, better than Firefox on both fronts there. As of version 56. However, I've been holding out, waiting for version 57. I'm going to see if it lives up to all the hype Mozilla's been putting out. Unfortunately, it's not in the Arch repos yet. Amusingly enough, Arch Linux, even though it's a rolling release distribution, today somebody did flag Firefox 56 as out of date, but 57 is still in the testing repository. That, combined with the fact that I do literally have hundreds of tabs open, means that I'll be showing you Firefox 57 in Ubuntu Linux, but I will be using it on my personal machine with Arch Linux and KDE as well. So stay tuned to Rolling Release when that comes back in a couple of weeks if you want to hear more about my personal experiences with the new Firefox, because I am very excited to try it out. I actually got to use it at school today on a Windows machine, and it was very interesting. So without further ado, I've been talking for like 4 minutes already. We're going to skip the long intros this video. We're going to jump right in. We're going to install and try out Firefox 57. Alright, and here we are on the Ubuntu desktop. The first thing I'm going to do is open up a terminal and update this machine because I haven't used it in a little while. Alright, and that is our system up to date. Now, if we do open up Firefox, you will quickly notice that we are still on version 56 in the Ubuntu repositories, which is not surprising at all. Ubuntu is going to take a few days to get this. I'm expecting Arch to push that 57 update from testing to the regular repository tomorrow. Ubuntu, of course, is going to take a couple of days, as you can see about Firefox. We are still on version 56. However, if you go to getfirefox.com, then here we've got the new Firefox, which we can download now manually. And now we've got a tarball. We'll go ahead and save that. And as you can see, Mozilla is really pushing this thing 2 times faster. Now that's compared to a year ago, not compared to version 56. Lightweight, uses 30% less memory than Chrome, and of course it's private because, like I said, not only does it have private browsing with tracking protection, but it is also the only mainstream browser I'm aware of that is open source, which makes it literally the only option for me. So we're going to go into our downloads folder here, and here we have our Firefox tarball. We are going to open this up. Now, if you're watching this like literally in a couple of days, you won't have to go through what I'm doing right now. You'll be able to just enjoy Firefox just by installing it from your repository. This is just because I am on the bleeding edge here, and the new version has not gotten pushed yet. Alright, and that is literally it. So we're going to go ahead and launch Firefox, and here is the new Firefox. Alright. Now, as you can see, it does detect that I'm coming from version 56, and it says one or more installed add-ons cannot be verified and have been disabled. We'll go ahead and unmaximize this here. Let's go ahead and change our desktop background as well, just to make this look a little less Ubuntu-ish. So this is the new Firefox. Alright, like I was just saying, this new Firefox also makes a big change to extensions. Now, a lot of people are really worked up about this. Personally, my philosophy on web extensions is about my same philosophy I have about phone cases. I just don't use them, period. So I really don't care that they have changed their extension API. However, a lot of add-ons out there have not been updated yet. Now, Mozilla told people that they were going to be doing this like a year ago. So if your extensions that you use every day have not been updated to work with Firefox 57, that really is the fault of your extension developer, not Mozilla. But as you can see, show legacy extensions, yeah, it's the Ubuntu extension, which doesn't really do much anyway. That is disabled because, like I said, Firefox did redo their extensions, their extension API, starting with this version to make it more secure and better performing. All right, and I am just going to remove this from our favorites and start it up again just to see if we can get the new icon to show up. Nope. All right, well, there is a new Firefox icon, and Ubuntu is still stuck on the old one right now, but you can see in Firefox itself this icon here, and I'm just going to make this window a little bit bigger, and we've actually got a little button here that says Firefox is all new. It looks like it's offering us a tour. Here we go. So, here's what's new in Firefox 57. Performance, faster page loading, smoother scrolling, more responsive tab switching, library. This is pretty interesting. It puts your history, your bookmarks, your synced tabs in one location, basically, which is basically what the Firefox mobile versions already did. It's this button up here. So before, you would have had one button for your bookmarks, one button for Pocket, one button for your history, one button for your downloads. Now it just puts them all underneath this one library button here. And that's interesting. I've actually got a couple of completely random pages from my other devices. I've got a web page here that I was browsing in Firefox 56 on my Arch machine, and then I've got a web page that I had open on my tablet a couple days ago. So it picked those two recent pages out as highlights and put them under my library button as well. So that is interesting. I wonder what algorithm it uses, because these are not the most recent pages I was using, but I was on them, so that's interesting. So there's the library though. Screenshots, there is that new screenshots button they added in Firefox 56. Personally, I think it's kind of nice that screenshots is a feature now, especially because you can screenshot more than one page's worth, and I'll show you that in a bit. But I still do find myself taking regular screenshots for videos and things, not using the built-in screenshot feature in Firefox, just because I like to have the browser Chrome included in screenshots usually. Address bar, as you can see, they did take the search bar away. This is the default layout for Firefox 57. This is not the Jacob customized version. Now this looks really similar to what my Firefox already looked like. That's because Firefox used to ship with one big address bar and then a small little search bar off to the side. Of course, if you open up Chromium, it's only got the one bar at the top. That was one of the big breakthrough things about Google Chrome when it came out, was it only had one bar for both URLs and searching. And Firefox had that functionality. They just put that search bar on the side for fun for years after they made Omnibar functional in Firefox. So I would always get rid of the search bar myself. Now they have gone ahead and made it so that there is only one bar by default, because that's all you really need. If you type in something that's not a web address, then it knows that it's supposed to search that. Of course, Firefox is still very customizable. You can actually add that secondary search bar back on if you want to, and you can also move all these buttons around and get rid of these annoying spaces here. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And finally, Firefox Sync. I'm already signed in to Sync because I was already using Firefox on this computer. That's one of the big things keeping me from moving from Firefox to a non-mainstream browser like Quapzilla, is that Firefox, because it's a mainstream browser and it's got versions for all desktop and mobile operating systems, I can sync my open tabs and my bookmarks between all my devices. The open tabs is especially useful to me. So yeah, we can go ahead and looks like that tour actually needs you to click the buttons to mark as completed here. They should probably make it so that it marks as completed just when you read it, but now that tour button has gone away. Well, it's still there, but it's no longer flashing us there. And here's the new Firefox new tab page. And this was interesting. Like I said, I did take a look at Firefox earlier today on a Windows machine. This is my first time looking at it on a Linux machine. So the new tab page, it does take a page from Microsoft Edge's book and it adds in this really stupid search bar on the new tab page. The reason I don't like that there's a search bar here is that there's also a search bar up here. So why do we need two search bars right next to each other? So we're going to go ahead, and the great thing about Firefox, once again, is it's way more customizable than Chrome, at least, or any other mainstream browser, maybe excluding Vivaldi. But you can go ahead and open up your Customize button here at the top right, and this new tab page is actually even more customizable than the old one. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that search bar because it has no functional use. Even though it does look nice, it has no functional use. We're also going to get rid of Firefox Pocket, which I'm not sure if Mozilla gets paid for the screens that go here or not, but whether or not they get paid for them, they have nothing to do with me and I don't really care about them. So we can go ahead and uncheck the recommended by Pocket section to get rid of that. And this looks a lot nicer. I'm actually going to leave everything else on. These snippets here are going to let you know whenever Mozilla is doing something or whenever there's a Firefox update. It'll pop up a little thing at the bottom of the screen. And then your new tab page can also have your top sites, which are just websites that you happen to visit often. And this isn't just websites, this is web pages, because as you can see, quite often I open up a new tab and type i.ytimg and then I hit down arrow and enter when I'm trying to get to the YouTube thumbnail page, because now I can go to youtube.com/nerdonthestreet, and let's see how quickly this loads up here. Taking a second, alright. That wasn't too bad, and this is on a desktop that's connected through my laptop to get to the internet. So there might be slightly more latency because of that. But if we go ahead and copy the link to one of my YouTube videos, this is how I get the thumbnails for the Nerd on the Street website right now, is I grab the video ID, paste it into the YTIMG URL, and now here's the thumbnail, and I can take this URL, put it in my website, so that when you go to nerdonthestreet.com, then there's the thumbnail right there. But now I won't have to type in i.ytimg, I can just click on that button because it saved that specific URL that I put in. Very interesting. It does not just do top-level domains like facebook.com and youtube.com, but it does do individual pages as well. All the other ones in here happen to be top-level domains right now. And then we've also got highlights. So I guess the reason why these went here in other pages that I visited recently didn't is because I bookmarked these. These are like some recently bookmarked pages and some recently visited pages. Now it's funny, this page here I actually did not mean to bookmark, and Firefox Mobile actually has a terrible UI with their bookmarks where it's really hard to undo a bookmark if you accidentally click that bookmark button. Regular Firefox does not have that problem. We'll just go ahead and remove that bookmark, and now it just says visited, which is fine. If we refresh this page, then that goes out of our highlights. But yeah, this was a page that I visited recently and I bookmarked it, and then I might look at it again in 10 years because that's about how often I actually look at my bookmarks. And then we've got my YouTube channel with my brand new profile picture there, and then Firefox Screenshots, the page that it sent us to when we were going through that tour, also in the highlights. So very interesting. You can probably tell if you've been using Firefox for a while. There are some new UI things here. Let's load up a couple of pages. We'll do Nerd on the Street, and let's do roosterteeth.com. just for something else to have up. And let's do a fourth one. Let's do jupiterbroadcasting.com as well. Alright, and you can see things loading here. So this is what the new tabs look like in Firefox. And one thing at school when I was using this new version that I did notice immediately was how many animations there are in this new version of Firefox. Now if I click this refresh button right here, I'm going to move this tab over here so it's all in one spot. Just watch this corner of the screen here and look at how many animations when I click refresh there are. There's one, two, at least 2 or 3 animations. Yeah, there was a fourth one. We'll do it one more time. Alright, so maybe only 3 animations, but you got this refresh button spinning around, you got the little back and forth bumper here, and then once it's done loading, you get the little flash of blue in the entire tab. Now that's a lot of animations, and one thing that I don't like about Google Chrome that they've been doing, and Chromium as well, is how many animations there are. If I go to nerdonthestreet.com here, you can see the little spinner there for Google Chrome, and that's even more animated than it used to be. There's actually not as many animations in Chromium as I remember there being. I wonder if Google Chrome has more, or if that's just something I'm remembering. I do know that Google itself has a lot of animations on its website. Well, that's a prime example right there. But that's more of a moving image. Let's see. Material design. is Google's UI language, kind of. And if we go there, you can see there's an entire section on motion because they have all these animations that play when you're interacting with your Android device or when you're interacting with Google Chrome. All these little animations every time you click a button that really slow down the system on some older Android devices. And Firefox is supposed to be lightweight, so I was skeptical when I first saw, like, every time you mouse over a tab, look at the bar at the top of the tab. That little bar that just shoots out from the middle, that's an animation that they chose to add in there, and it is going to slow down some computers, I would bet. But me personally, as of 1 day's worth of using Firefox 57, I have not seen any slowdowns firsthand because of the animations. So we'll see if those annoy me too much or if I get used to them. I am willing to get used to them because I know that is where design is going right now. All right, now some people might like this centered address bar with a little bit of space on each side. I think that the Brave browser also does this, where it's got a smaller address bar centered in your screen. That was one of the few things that kept me from actually using the Brave browser, was having space on the left and right side of the address bar. You know, a lot of people like the new Opera, and I think Google Chrome might have an option for it. Opera definitely does it though. Vivaldi might do it. I think Safari definitely does it, where when you go to sub-pages on a website, then it doesn't actually display the entire address. Like, instead of saying nerdonthestreet.com/displaced right here, Opera or Safari would just say nerdonthestreet.com. It wouldn't include any of the stuff around it. Now, I actually like to have the entire URL visible. If we go to an episode of Linux Action News here, I like to be able to copy this entire URL. If we go to a video here at Nerd on the Street, I like to have the entire URL right there for me to copy. And URLs can get much longer than this. If we reopen one of the recent tabs we had open, this is a pretty long URL. Of course, it includes an anchor in there. But as you can see here, I just did a Google search for a really long URL, and now we've got a website that has a really long URL here. Now, I don't want this to be cut off, you know, I want as much of that to fit on the screen as possible so that I can read that thing. So we're going to go ahead and customize Firefox, and this is one of my favorite things about Firefox also. The only other mainstream browser that's customizable that I know of is Vivaldi, and of course it is proprietary. So it's great that Firefox is open source and it has this. So if you go to your menu and you click Customize, check this out. As you can see here, all that empty space on either side of the address bar, they're just spacers, so we can click those, drag them out of the way, do it again with the other one, and it's telling us we can actually even put buttons in a little sub-menu if we want to. Now, before I get rid of a couple more of these buttons, we'll go over what they do. Here's your homepage button. It goes back to your homepage if you set a homepage. I usually don't set a homepage, or I keep it set to either about blank, which I'm hoping would still work. Yep, that still works in Firefox 57. Or you can just, you know, sometimes I use the regular old new tab page. The library button, once again, has your bookmarks. It's got your pocket list, which I don't use Pocket. I do use bookmarks. I'm not going to click on that because I've got way too many of them. It's also got your history, it's got your downloads, synced tabs from other devices, and then here's the screenshots button for the web page that's got all your screenshots, I guess. Interestingly enough, not seeing where the actual button to take a screenshot is anymore. But we are going to go back into Customize. We're going to get rid of the home button for one thing, and the library button. Now here, this is a sidebar button here that opens up your bookmarks sidebar that can also be used for your history or your synced tabs. You can also move that sidebar around if you want to, so it's actually next to that icon. And I could see myself using the sidebar a little more than I do right now, but right now I don't use the sidebar very often. So I am going to go into Customize and also drag that away. So yeah, we can go to a website again. Now when we're on a website, we've got this pocket button in the actual address bar, not outside of it, but inside of it, right next to this button here that is used to either bookmark the page or save it to your pocket, copy the link, email link. This copy link might be sort of useful, so you don't have to worry about, you know, oh, there's a, well, double clicking is pretty easy actually, but you don't have to worry about clicking and dragging or getting the entire address. You can just click the 3 dots and click copy. You can also send it to another device. Now, I actually just clicked that pocket button on accident. Now, if we go into Customize, you can see pocket button doesn't show up. What you can do with this, though, is you can just right-click it and remove from address bar, because I don't want pocket. I don't need pocket. Oh, you can also right-click it there and add it to the address bar, as you can see, we still have our bookmark button here. And here's the remove button, which they should really add to their mobile version. But yeah, that's interesting that they've got all that. I can send this tab to my phone right now or to my laptop because, like I said, I'm on my desktop right now. Or I can also send it to my tablet. Or I can send it to all of them if I want to be really crazy. So yeah, just checking here. Nope, scrolling over the tabs in Firefox 57 does not change tabs. Just wanted to check that because that's something that I use pretty often in Google Chrome. If we open a couple tabs, I can just use my scroll wheel to switch between these without having to actually click on all of them. Here in Firefox 57, we still do have to click on everything. And it keeps unloading a picture on the Rooster Teeth website, which is interesting. I'm inclined to blame that on Rooster Teeth's website more than Firefox, because that is not a well-designed website, but interesting, it keeps unloading that picture, probably for memory management, because it does take up less RAM than Chrome, Mozilla says. Looking around in our menu, though, we've got, let's see, I'm fairly certain the preferences page is new. Yep, so you can change your font here, you can change your language, download settings, everything, you know. You've got an option to play DRM-controlled content such as Netflix, or you can have an option to not do that. And it's important that they keep this option in here. Firefox is the only browser that lets you turn this off, and the code that makes DRM run is proprietary, so a lot of people don't want to run that. So good on Mozilla for keeping that separated out. As you can see, Firefox is up to date because we literally just downloaded it from mozilla.org or from getfirefox.com. You can turn on auto-scrolling, which is on by default on Windows. I'm not sure what it actually does. I don't actually want it on, but you can turn that on, whatever it is. You can also turn on smooth scrolling. As you can see right now, scrolling's pretty smooth. We can turn that off, and the scrolling is much more jerky, but some people prefer the more responsiveness of not having smooth scrolling turned on. You can set your search preferences right over here, and here's where you can also set a separate bar for search if you're stuck on that. Personally, I'm very happy they went with the unibar by default. You can change your default search engine. I will be adding start page to this, but DuckDuckGo is included if you want a privacy respecting search engine. If you want a good privacy respecting search engine, you can go to startpage.com, and we can go ahead and add that to Firefox. Add, then we'll just go right back here. Refresh this and change our search engine to start page. Now we can just search, test search. There we go, now it searches in start page. Just opened up a couple more tabs. That was totally on purpose, just testing out the tab functionality. Under the privacy and security tab, first of all, this is checked by default. Remember logins and passwords for websites. I have that unchecked on my system because I never use Firefox's password manager. I use a Rolodex on my desk for a password manager. Got another video about it. Down here, though, I do want to bring attention to this, Firefox data collection and use. You can see that I have chosen to uncheck the allow Firefox to send technical and interaction data to Mozilla, and that includes unchecking the allow Firefox to install and run studies box, as well as allow Firefox to send crash reports to Mozilla. On Windows, when I installed this morning at school, this was checked by default. Both of these were checked by default, and this was actually in the news. Mozilla has decided, instead of having these be opt-in like they've sort of been before, or instead of popping up a toolbar at the bottom of the screen on first launch that says, hey, click here to review your privacy settings, they actually just keep these on by default, and now rather than having a toolbar at the bottom of the screen, they've actually just launched a new web page. And we'll see if I can find it with a quick Google search. All right, here we go. So this is the page that actually opened up by default when I installed this fresh on a Windows machine that had never had Firefox installed before at school today. So this is a little bit more visible than just having a tiny little toolbar at the bottom of the screen. At the same time, it doesn't actually have a button on it. It just tells you where to go. Oh, it does have a button on it. Okay. Well, that's nice. So really, this isn't, these things were already on by default before, but they have changed the behavior of how they tell you that it's on by default. Just wanted to point that out, that if you go to your preferences and go to privacy and security, and then Firefox data collection and use, that is where that is if you want to disable it. This block dangerous and deceptive content, this also does phone home whenever you stumble upon a quote-unquote blocked website. It does not send Mozilla every website you go to, and supposedly they don't even send you the websites that are blocked that you get to. But it does call Mozilla when you visit a website that they have on their blocked list. So personally, I would also uncheck that. Because what's even the point of using a privacy-respecting browser if you're going to have privacy-infringing options enabled? So yeah, we've got, here's your Firefox account. Used to be called Mozilla Sync or Firefox Sync. I guess they're calling it Firefox Account now. And I'm just gonna, well, yeah, I usually change this to be just the name of the computer because obviously it's my Firefox. It's going to be Jacob's Firefox on any device that belongs to me that I'm using Firefox on. But yeah, those are the preferences, and you can now search in preferences. So let's say that you didn't know where to turn off the usage data. We can search usage, or if you spell it right, usage. No. Collection. Well, you can search collection, and they say use instead of usage. That's why that search didn't work. But that's a little demo of the searchable options, which is nice. Aside from that, you can see here that video works. I don't think that I've got audio coming out of my desktop right now, but we can put some 1080p video on, you know, full screen, everything works. Of course, that's all going to depend on your desktop environment, on your distro more, and just generally your operating system, what multimedia you've got running underneath than on Firefox itself. But yeah, that is Firefox 57. This is the new tabs thing going on here. Mozilla is working on making it so that the window buttons are actually down here on the same line as tabs like they are on Windows. They're actually working on that for Linux. Rewriting a lot of client-side decorations in GTK as far as I understand it. But yeah, that is the new Firefox 57. Definitely take a look at it. If you haven't used Firefox in a little bit, you should definitely give it a try because Firefox has gotten a lot better in the past few versions. And this new UI is out that is trying to bring it visually up to speed with Chrome and other browsers. But I know Firefox 56 already had a lot of the improvements. I think it was CSS improvements in 57 that it was still getting. But Firefox does have some limited multi-process support now, and I do hope Mozilla keeps improving, because multi-process support is still limited to only 4 processes on Firefox, whereas Chrome will open up as many processes as you have tabs, it seems like. So yeah, there's plenty of room for Firefox to grow still, but if you've been using Chrome since it came out, if you ditched Firefox a while back because it was slow, I highly recommend you try it again. Try it again, try it without any extensions or anything. Try this new version with all its fancy animations and its new browser engine. It's called Firefox Quantum is their nickname for 57. But yeah, this is the release that we have been waiting for months. So yeah, like I said, I can't really make a big statement about it just without, yeah, it unloaded that image again. You see that? We can't really make a statement about Firefox. I can't really tell you whether or not it's actually going to be so much better for day-to-day browsing because I haven't used it a whole lot yet. But I will certainly let you guys know in future videos just as a side thing. But I did want to make a new video highlighting some of the new things about this new Firefox. If you think it looks nice, if you like this new tab page, maybe you're somebody who's going to like the Pocket recommendations. I'm going to keep those right off. But yeah, very, very customizable, and it's all right here. And it's open source, and it is effectively Libre. Debian started shipping Firefox again recently. So yeah, it is freedom respecting, and Mozilla is the most ethical company making a modern mainstream web browser right now. If you're worried at all about your personal privacy or security, I would certainly go with Firefox over any other browser, any other mainstream browser. So yeah, let me know what you guys think over at the forums at nerdonthestreet.com. Hey, we got a forum section for Tech Talk, so make a thread in here about Firefox 57, try it out, and come here and let me know what you think in Firefox 57. How about that? A little bit of interactiveness for you there. But for now, that's everything I had to talk about, so I'm Jacob Kaufman with Nerd on the Street, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.